Alright guys, we're back once again with another deck profile from Cardfight Vanguard Dear Days on the Nintendo Switch. This time we'll be doing version 1 of our Stoicheia Rorowa deck, which version 1, as always, is everything up through the first additional card pass, so through D Booster Set 7. But this deck, like with my Favrenil deck before, you can actually play this deck with entirely using cards from the base game and not actually purchasing any of the DLC with just a few aesthetic changes. So that is something to keep in mind. But this is the second of our glitter decks focused on units from the Craycross Epic web novel series. And this deck focuses on summoning out plant tokens to fill up your field, and mostly just a sacrifice to power up your other units and let you do various combos. So, very cool deck. So like always, we will run through the deck, and then after that we'll have one card fight to show it in action. So first off, we'll start with our Ride deck. So our Grade 0 starter is Bushiroad Youth Rorowa. So when this unit is rolled upon, if you win second, draw a card. Same skill that all D-Series starters have. Next, our Grade 1 is Awakening from Slumber Rorowa. So he has an auto ability when this unit is placed by riding on Bushiroad Youth Rorowa. Call up to one plant token to your back row center rearguard circle. So in this game you actually can't view the plant tokens when you're outside of a card fight, so I'll throw up a screenshot of one now just so you can see them. Plant tokens are just vanilla Grade 0 units with 5k power. Nothing special to them at all, but this deck does make very good use of them. So then also, this card does have the glitter ability, which doesn't do anything in and of itself other than make this card a glitter. And there are other cards in the deck that require your Vanguard to be a glitter, so this turns on those skills. So next up, our Grade 2 is The World 3000 Years Later Rorowa. And his auto ability says when this unit is placed on Vanguard Circle, you can retire one of your rear guards and call up to 2 plant tokens to rearguard circle. And again, he is also a glitter. So this card is meant to retire the plant token you called off of your Grade 1 Rorowa and replace it with 2. So very simple skill, but it turns one rearguard into 2 for effectively no cost, which is pretty useful. And then, of course, our Grade 3 is For One's Precious Thing Rorowa. So he has an Activate ability that says once per turn you can Soul Blast 1 and call up to 3 plant tokens to rearguard circle. So again, another big plant token generator, getting 3 units onto your field for just the cost of 1 Soul Blast is very efficient. And then he also has an auto ability that says when this unit is attacked, you can retire 1 or more of your token units, and this unit gets power plus 5,000 until the end of that battle for each unit retired for this cost. So this effectively turns all your token units into extra 5k shields, which is very useful for your defending, helps you preserve cards in your hand, and since you can very easily get those token units back on the next turn, it's easy to replace them as well. And then, of course, like the others, this unit is also a glitter. So that's our Ride deck. Moving on to the main deck, we are running 3 additional copies of Rorowa. I got the SP here, just for aesthetic purposes. So next for our Grade 3s, we do have 3 copies of Blue Artillery Dragon Inlet Pulse Dragon. So this card has 2 abilities, but his first one only works if your Vanguard is Flagship Dragon Flagberg Dragon, which obviously is not going to be the case in this deck. So his first ability is not usable, but we're running him for his second ability, which is Auto at the end of your turn. If the total number of attacks this turn is 4 or more, you can put this unit into your soul and draw a card. So this card is just here to help refill your soul. This deck soul blasts a lot between Rorowa's skill and Radilina's skill, who we'll go through in a minute. So you eat through your soul very fast. This card can help you restore it while being a ±0, since he shoves himself into soul and you draw a new card to replace him. So that's really the only purpose of this card, is resource management. and you can always get the 4 attacks in to meet his condition, thanks to Momoke, who will also go over here soon. So next for our grade 3s, I am running 1 copy of Pure Maiden Belanca, which is a card I am 100% using solely for her artwork. So if you want to replace this with literally anything else, a 4th copy of Inlet Pulse or anything else you want to run, feel free. I'm just running her for art because I thought it looked just absolutely gorgeous. So she's got continuous ability when she's in Guardian Circle if your Vanguard is grade 3 or greater. So you can get shield plus 10,000. So she's just a 10k shield, she's nothing special, but that art, man, I had to pop it in at 1. So then lastly for our grade 3s, we are running 4 copies of our set order Resolute Pair of Eyes. So if you have a Vanguard with Rorowa in its card name, you can play this with a Counterblast 1 and retire a rearguard. And then it has an auto ability that says when this card is put into the order zone, search your deck for up to 1 card with Radilina in its card name, reveal it, put it in your hand, and shuffle your deck. So this lets you search out your Radilinas when she is a very important card. You definitely want her on rearguard circle at all times, so being able to search her out is very useful. And then additionally, this card also has a continuous ability when it's in your order zone that says during your turn, if you have a Vanguard with Rorowa in its card name, all of your back row token units get power plus 5,000. So most of the time in this deck, your entire back row is going to consist of token units. So this card gives your entire back row an extra 5k, and thanks to the way it's worded, it actually does stack. So if you get multiple copies of this card into order zone, your tokens in the back row will get 5k for each copy. So that can add up very quickly and help increase the power of all of your attacks. So very, very useful card. So that's all of our grade 3s. Moving on to the grade 2s, we are running 4 copies of Drag Ritter Girl of Flame Blossoms, Radilina. So she is our rearguard glitter unit. She is also dual nation, being both Dragon Empire and Stoicheia. So her first ability is an activate ability that says if you do not have a Momoke token, you can Counterblast 1 and call up to 1 Momoke token to rearguard circle. So she's the only way to spawn a Momoke token in this deck, which is another very important combo piece. Now when you use this skill, you do always want to put Momoke directly behind Radilina because of one of Momoke's skills, which we'll go over in a second. But additionally, she also has a glitter ability that's active if your Vanguard is a glitter with Rorowa in its card name, which will always be the case. So auto ability, when this unit attacks, you can Soul Blast 1 and choose one of your token units in the same column as this unit, and this unit gets the power of that unit until the end of that battle. So this lets her gain a massive amount of power for her attack, as if she was being boosted by the Momoke behind her, which is good because the Momoke behind her is not going to be boosting her most of the time. It's going to be attacking on its own, thanks to its own skill. So this lets you have Momoke basically attack and boost at once in the same turn. So very helpful skill in letting her become a very strong attacker. Now as for Momoke, he is another token unit, so again we can't view it outside of a card fight, so I'll throw up a screenshot once again to go through his abilities. So he is again another grade 0 5k token unit. Again, he is also dual nation, just like Radilina is. And he has an activate ability that says once per turn, you can retire 1 or more of your other rearguards, and this unit gets power plus 5,000 until end of turn for each unit retired for this cost. So most of the time you're going to be retiring plant tokens for that ability, though it doesn't have to be plant tokens, it could be anybody. But you use him to eat your other rearguards and power him up, which is very useful for his second skill, which is his glitter ability. That is a continuous ability that says if you have a unit with Radilina in its card name in the same column as this unit can attack from the back row. So the idea is to power Momoke up as much as possible using both his first ability and your set orders. Then you have him attack from your back row, so that gives you your 4th attack. And then you have Radilina in front of him attack on her own unboosted, but then you can use her skill to have her inherit the power of Momoke as well. So by powering up Momoke, you're actually powering up 2 of your attacks at once. So that can make for some very devastating turns. And since all these abilities don't require your opponent to be at grade 3 or anything like that, you can actually rush with these cards on grade 2 if you have the right setup. So next we are running 3 copies of Prodpollen Raphilis. So she's got an auto ability. When this unit is placed on rearguard circle, you can counterblast 1 and call up to 2 plant tokens to rearguard circle. So she's another plant token generator. She is a 9k base, but it doesn't matter too much. You can always feed her to Momoke to power him up if you want to call something better to be an attacker after you used her skill. Another thing she's very useful for is if on turn 2 you have 2 damage and both her and Radilina in your hand, then you can rush really strong on turn 2 by calling Radilina, calling Momoke, using Momoke to eat the 2 plant tokens you got off of Rorowa's skill, and then calling her to replace those 2 plant tokens. You'll end up with a full field and 4 attacks on turn 2. So that can be really devastating early on if your opponent doesn't have much in their hand to block all that. So next we're running 3 copies of Tyrannite Fletche. So she's got auto ability. When this unit attacks at grade 3 or greater Vanguard, this unit gets power plus 5,000 until end of that battle for each of your token units. So, like I said, most of the time your entire back row is going to be consisting of token units. So she can gain a free 15,000 power when she attacks. And if she's being boosted by a plant token, the plant token can also be powered up by your set order as well. So this unit can very easily hit very high numbers at absolutely no cost. So she just makes a really good beat stick. So next we are running 2 copies of Blooming Petal Caryophyllus. I think that's how you say that. But she's another 9k base grade 2, but she's got an auto ability. When this unit is placed on rearguard circle, if your soul has no cards, you can soul charge 2. So this is just another resource card. It only works if you're slap out of soul, but that can happen pretty easily in this deck, actually, especially if you don't get your persona rides off. So you can call her and get free resources, and then again, you don't have to worry about the 9k base because you can just have Momoke eat her to power himself up. So, very useful resource card. So that's all of our grade 2s. Moving on to the grade 1s, we are running 3 copies of Stepping Calyx Salvia. So she's got an auto ability. When she's placed on rearguard circle, if your Vanguard is grade 3 or greater, you may call a plant token to rearguard circle. So she's just another plant token generator. She does require you to be at grade 3, so she can't help on the early rush turns. But later in the game, she can be helpful to help fill out your field, or to just get more units to sacrifice to Momoke, or to retire to play your set order, whatever you need to do. So the only other grade 1s we are running are our Sentinels. So we're running 3 copies of Custodial Dragon, just a standard perfect guard. And then our last Sentinel is of course the 1 copy of our Blitzorder Elementaria Sanctitude. So another perfect guard, but it can be played without paying the cost if your opponent's Vanguard has triple drive. So standard Sentinel lineup. So that's all of our grade 1s. Now for the grade 0s, we just have our trigger lineup, which is 7 crit, 4 draw, 4 heal, and 1 over. So for our crit triggers, we do have 4 copies of Aspiring Maiden Alana, which is the crit with an effect. So at the end of the battle it boosted, you can put it into your soul and choose one of your units and give it plus 2,000 power until end of turn. I don't use that ability much, but if you're really desperate for the soul, that can get a card into your soul. So if you need that 1 extra soul to use Radilina's skill, you do always have that option. So additionally, we're running 3 copies of Sylvan Beast Jackalope, which is just your vanilla crit trigger. So next for the draws, we have 4 copies of Serene Maiden Lena. So it is the draw with a skill, continuous, when it's on Guardian Circle. If your opponent's Vanguard is grade 3 or greater, get shield plus 5,000. So 10k shield, that's definitely the draw you want to run to have as much shield power as possible. And then for our heal, we are running 4 copies of Rhythmica Kiwi with this very cute art. So it's just the vanilla heal. If you want to run the effects ones, you can. I just always stick with the vanillas. And then lastly, we do have our one over trigger, which is Source Dragon Deity of Blessings, Bless Favor. So his additional effect lets you draw a card, choose one of your units, and it gets critical +1 until end of turn. All of your front row units get power plus 10,000, and if your damage zone has the same number of cards as your opponents or more, choose a card from your damage zone and heal it. So this card is effectively a critical, front, draw, and heal trigger all rolled into one. So checking this can be very devastating. Which also, the 100 million power, if you give that to Momoke, then he can pass that power to Radilina and you can actually get 2 100 million plus attacks out of it in one turn. So you can get double your mileage out of that as well. Which you can do with all your triggers actually, but it's most effective with this one obviously. So very, very powerful card. So that is the deck, so we will go ahead and do one card fight with it. And we'll play against Yui, I guess. Alright, so we'll be going first. So we'll drop Fletcher to ride. And then use our grade 1 skill to call out our plant token. And then we can just end our turn. Which they did do an alternate art of the plant token that actually had a completely different design. And I don't know if they're going to end up adding it to this game or not, but I think it'd be pretty cool if they did. They're adding Claudine to D-Booster Set 10, that standalone promo boss that uses plant tokens. And the alternate art actually fits with her really well. So maybe they'll add it in the update to go along with that set. Alright, we'll drop her. And then use Rorowa's skill to retire our plant token and replace it with 2 more. And we only got 1 counter blast, so I can't use both of those. So we'll call Radilina. And then use her skill to counter blast and call out our Momoke. And then we'll use Momoke's ability to eat our 2 plant tokens. And give him 10,000 extra power. And then we'll just go ahead and attack with this. So, attack with Vanguard first. Then we can attack with Momoke. And she guards. Then we'll attack with Radilina. And I'm actually not going to use her skill here. Yeah, because she's going to no-guard it anyway. So we can save that soul for later. Yeah, we'll let that one through. And we'll let that through as well. I didn't really want to go to 4 this fast, but I think I'm going to. I don't really have much in my hand I want to guard with right now. And then we draw the heal. Great. Alright, well, we'll drop that heal then. To ride Rorowa. So now we'll go ahead and use Rorowa's ability first. To Soul Blast. And call out our 3 plant tokens. And then we'll play Resolute Pair of Eyes from our hand. So we'll Counterblast and retire one of the tokens. And that'll power up our back row and let us search out Radilina from our deck. Then we'll use Momoke's ability to eat our 2 plant tokens again. And give him another 10k. Then we'll call Prod Pollen from our hand. And use her ability to replace our plant tokens. And I think we're set up, so we'll go ahead and attack with our Vanguard first. And we get a critical trigger. So we'll give the crit to our Vanguard and the power to Momoke. She gets a heal trigger, which she does not get. Alright, so we'll attack with Momoke. She gets another heal. So we'll attack with Radilina next, and then use her skill. To gain 30,000 extra power. And we won't be able to hit our Vanguard with Prod Pollen, so we'll go after her 1 rear guard that we can hit. So now she can sing her song and gain an extra crit. So we will perfect guard that. And we just need 5 to block this, so we'll use Rorowa's skill to sacrifice our plant token and gain 5,000 power. So now we will Persona Ride. And draw our last Radilina. So let's see, we'll go ahead and use Momoke's skill. And retire our 2 regards to gain 10k. Then we'll call Fletche from our hand. And use Rorowa's ability to Soul Blast. And we're only going to call 2 this time, because that's all we need. So now we can go ahead and attack, once again, with our Vanguard first. And she perfect guards. And we get a critical trigger, alright. So we'll give the critical to Redilina and the power to Momoke. So now I think we'll attack with Fletche next. And we'll use her skill to give her an extra 15,000 power. Oh, and she's gotta let it through. And we got her, alright. So there you go, that was our Rorowa deck, version 1. So I will be back soon with more deck profiles. I believe the next one up is going to be Greedon. So until then, I guess that's all we got for this video. So lots of luck to you and yours.